Hi, I'm Sheldon from US Passport Service Guide, and I'm here with a question from one of our actual readers, and it's a question we get a lot. He said, I mailed my passport application last week, but now I need the birth certificate that I mailed with it back urgently. Is there any way I can get it back quickly? So whether you've already applied or you're in the process of applying and trying to figure this out for yourself, if that concern sounds familiar, don't worry, you're not alone and you're in good hands. We answer this question all the time. So in this video, we're going to answer that question for you and outline the different ways you can get your birth certificate back as quickly as possible after you've submitted your application. If you find this real-world travel ID advice helpful, please make sure you like and subscribe. If you have other questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. These things help us out a lot and make sure that we can help other travelers just like you. So let's break this down real quick. Why does the United States government need your birth certificate when you apply for a passport? The answer is simple. It proves who you are. It's a citizenship and an identification document. It is one of the premier ways they prevent fraud and passport application abuse. So once you've submitted your passport application, all those extra documents that you've submitted go with it. That includes your birth certificate. These documents are reviewed multiple times to make sure everything is accurate and everything is truthful, to make sure you are who you say you are before they actually print out a passport and send it your way. But here's the thing. When you submit that application and all those supporting documents, once they've issued you a passport, that gets shipped out to you as fast as they can. Your supporting documents may not come for another 2 weeks. They're not lost, they're not gone, they're just separated from where the new passport got printed from. Now that delay surprises a lot of people. They go to the mailbox, they get their new passport, and they're wondering, wait a minute, is my birth certificate gone? My marriage license? Where did all these things go? Don't worry, they're still coming. It just can take up to 2 weeks after you receive your passport for that second mailing to appear. So once your passport has been sent, there's a second package that gets sent that includes all of your supporting documents. You're not going to see your application again, you don't need it. But your birth certificate, your name change documents, a marriage license, any additional information you had to send with your application will be in that second package. However, you're going to have to wait for it. Unlike the passport, you can't pay for expedited shipping of those documents to come back. Also, unlike the passport, there's no tracking on that mailer. So your birth certificate and all those other documents are kind of hanging out there in the ether until they show up into your mailbox. That can be really stressful. We get it, but be patient. Almost every time this goes off without a hitch. So if you applied for routine passport service, that means you're waiting somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks to get that new passport. Now, if you expedited that process, you can cut the wait down to 2 to 3 weeks. So if you know when you're applying for a passport that you're going to also need things like your birth certificate or your marriage certificate in order to apply for things like a visa or to go to school or for some other reason where they also need a certified copy of your identification documents, it may be worth expediting your application even if you don't have super urgent travel plans and you need your passport as soon as possible. Okay, so back to the question at hand. You've submitted your passport application and now you realize you need your birth certificate back fast. So let's play out a couple scenarios. Let's say you applied for a new passport, you don't have urgent travel plans, and the 4 to 6 weeks seemed fine at the time. But now you're realizing you need your birth certificate back. And with that extra 2-week delay of when your supporting documents come back, you're going to be in trouble. So there is an option. Your first option is to call the National Passport Information Center. We'll put the number down in the description. What you're going to do is you're going to give them all the information about your passport application, and you can actually bump up your processing from routine to expedited. And what they will do is they will send you an email. You'll have to pay the additional $60 expediting fee. And if you want, you can pay about $20 to get your passport shipped back in 2 to 3 days. Now, you need to understand, this will not mean your birth certificate and supporting documents get shipped back within 2 to 3 days, but we often recommend it because it gives you tracking on that new passport. Now be prepared. When you call, they may tell you that your application is already being processed or at a point where they can't flag it for expediting. But in most cases, they should be able to take care of that for you. Again, all this does is moves your passport processing up to 2 to 3 weeks, which means getting your birth certificate back now goes to about 4 to 5 weeks, depending on when you submitted. Now you can circumvent the whole passport office entirely and just request a second copy of your birth certificate. So if you contact the State Vital Records office from where you were born, they should be able to produce that for you. You're going to pay for it, but again, having an extra copy that's certified with the seal and official from the state saying who you are isn't the worst thing to have on hand. And then the third option is use a passport expediting service. If you haven't started the process yet, a passport expediting service is a great way to make sure this entire thing moves smoothly and quickly. And honestly, they'll probably give you the same advice I gave you, which is to get that second copy. However, if you have a more complex travel situation, like you're going somewhere where you're going to need to get a visa, it may be useful to work through an expediting service because they can help stagger the timelines to make sure you have the documents you need when you need them so they can get to their appropriate locations and you have the peace of mind knowing your travel plans are going to work out. Check out the link in the description for some of our top recommendations for these services. So again, probably the best piece of advice I can offer you is it never hurts to have more than one copy of your birth certificate. If you have to contact a vital records office to get one copy of a document like that, make it two. I know you're going to be spending more money, but again, having those documents possibly in different locations, maybe one in a fire safe box in your house, one in a safe deposit box, or at a relative's house somewhere safe and off-site, can save you a lot of headaches like this in the future. If you have questions like this that you need answered about your travel documents, be sure to drop them in the comments below and we might feature yours next. Safe travels.